Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the late start, but hey, as we know in the wrestling world and in podcasting, card subject to change. So, without further ado, welcome to another edition of Live from the Chair with Big Money Exchange with your host. He thinks he's a wrestling encyclopedia. He thinks he knows it all. But tonight he's just going to interview a really, really close friend of his for the last 14 plus years. And our very third or fourth Special Olympics from the Chair Confessionals. So our guest this evening is a really close personal friend of mine as well, Mr. Michael Munger Jr. So, with that being said, Nathan, if you can be nice to our guest this evening, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
I can always be nice, but I have to clear this by saying I call him Mikey, so that's why I'll be doing that through the podcast. But how you doing tonight, Mikey?
Usual. Enjoying my cold beverage. Not a sponsor.
Touche.
That's
So
it for
how
you.
did you get started with Special Olympics before we get into the wrestling stuff?
Oh, man, that's a good one.
Did you get started with
I got started in Special Olympics when I was 31. I actually started when I was a kid, but I had some issues. I had family stuff going on. I spent trips in my early kid start. But when I found out Special Olympics was back bowling over at Triangle, I'm like, okay, give it a try. Signed up. Had no problem. Met Tony, met everyone, Pat, Bubba, every friend I have right now. I'm happy to call my friends, teammates, even my coaches. Tony's one of my coaches. He was my first coach back.
Very cool. Tony, do you have a question?
Well, we all know that Special Olympians have a true heart of a champion. So, after bowling, you started getting into other sports as well. So, I guess the question is, how does it, has a Special Olympics athlete turned you into any, has it gave you training for any other professions or any other way of life that you wished you could be doing now?
It has. It's given me the confidence I need. As a champion, it actually worked out the way I hoped. I never expected to actually go to my first couple years. I didn't expect to actually go to state, but when I went to state for soccer my first year, then everything just snowballed from there. So I worked harder. I had more confidence every time I go out on practice, train, everything. It was all mental on me. Physically, I was able to, but mentally, I wasn't right up here.
Yes, mental health is very, very important. But before we continue with our confessionals, ladies and gentlemen, I've got to break in and break character just for a second. With that being said, we're going to do another swerve here tonight real quick, but we're going to get right back into the confessionals. Our friend, Mr. Mike Martinez in Southern California, his son is still missing. They know he's in Mexico City. They're asking anybody with ties to family law attorneys to please contact Mr. Mike Martinez. Please help bring Hansel home. They miss him. They love him. He's a huge wrestling fan, as everybody on this podcast is. So if anybody knows any other information or knows a good family law attorney, please send them to Mr. Mike Martinez. He really needs anybody's help we can get. He's a great guy. In fact, Mr. Martinez was the person that gave us the lead to our co-host, Big Money Dodge, who's in the comments right now. That's why we're laughing, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I'm trying to stay as professional as I can, but anyways, hashtag bring Hansel home. As far as that, Nathan, back to you.
Okay, you just broke character. I have to do it too. Big Money, you do not hate wrestling, but you do love the money. I'll give you that. So, let's talk about wrestling, Mikey, for a minute. As much as I give T credit for getting me into wrestling and getting me, into what I was doing, the legitimate truth is you were the one that first came to me about about the training school that you and I attended.
Yep.
Because you had hooked up with the people that were training us and knew that I would be interested. Although, funny story, you told me the wrong building, so I spent the first night I was supposed to be there circling the airport like a disabled plane. But
oh yeah.
Other than that, I mean,
anyways, let's not get into the wrestling stories because this isn't what that's about right now.
I do want to say thank you though for getting me involved on that level, because without that, I wouldn't.
You're welcome, buddy.
Be where I'm at.
Anytime, anywhere, you know that.
Today. So.
You're welcome. Hell, even though this is not the wrestling side of the podcast, congratulations on your 100th episode coming up.
Thank you.
Proud of you. I knew you could do it.
All right. So speaking of that 100th episode, since you brought it up again, I'll break character yet again. Our 100th episode is going to be a very, very huge show. Lots of surprises set up for us. And ladies and gentlemen, in my personal opinion, I'm just going to shut off chats. And ladies and gentlemen, my personal opinion is a future Hall of Famer, a 15,000 match referee. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 15,000 matches. The only man to do it in the modern era since television. 15,000 matches. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. It'll probably never, ever happen again in our lifetime.
And I don't even think Earl Hebner's ever done that.
I just said, walking encyclopedia, the only man in modern day era of TV to ever do it. So don't interrupt me again.
We'll see.
I'll have you flying cargo shit full of Hong Kong from here to Hong Kong. You understand me?
Want me to fly a cargo ship to Hong Kong?
All right, that's it. This is my podcast now. So, anyways, like I said, he's a great friend of mine, Nathan's, and Mike's, Mr. T-Rex. And we get to celebrate his accomplishments on our 100th episode, and that's coming up. Normally, I'm a heel, and I don't let you guys know when the episode is, but I'm going to break it today. It is July 8th, a special start time. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, a special start time of 2:30 Pacific Standard Time. So, to hear from a future Hall of Fame referee, please join us July 8th at 2:30. Anyways, now let's get to the show, and I think we're going to discuss some Forbidden Door and some maybe picks for Money in the Bank coming up on Saturday. And now, ladies and gentlemen, also, Nathan's already lost the bet. He's going to be dressed in a dress at a Mariners game coming up in August. Ironically, the man on the bottom of the screen also wore a dress in my presence. And I'll be the only man in existence that has a picture of both of those men in a dress. And I'll tell you, after Nathan wears his, I'll tell you which one was which one I thought was cuter. And the answer is probably going to be neither, because they're both ugly. Okay, but Nathan,
You feel better now, Tony?
But Nathan, let's get on to the show. You want to do Forbidden Door first, or do you want to do Money in the Bank?
Let's do Forbidden Door. So, what do you think of the CM Punk Kojima match?
Kojima's a living legend in Japan anyway, so it actually works. You have one of the best from Japan versus the best in AEW. It worked out perfectly. I'm sorry, but I watched in Japan. You know that.
I do know.
So I
do know that.
Love for New Japan stars also. So New Japan actually put on their biggest stars that helped build that company.
Yeah.
They need a women's match from Stardom to be on Forbidden Door. That was the problem.
And I think they would have had one if Mercedes Moné hadn't broke her ankle.
You know that's probably a work anyway.
From what I've heard, she really did break her ankle. That's why they had to call the finish to that match. But I thought it was a good match, but people always are saying that CM Punk is the best of the world still, or the best, that was the best versus the best. CM Punk just came back off an injury, and there's a lot of people in AEW that have had a lot better matches recently, like Big Money said in the chat, like Omega did last night, which we'll get to in a little bit, or like an Orange Cassidy who's won 24 of his his last 24.
Orange Cassidy couldn't get his wet out of a wet paper bag.
He's won the last 24 title defenses. The only way CM Punk could win is if he has FTR behind him or Tony Khan in his back pocket.
Was there FTR or Ricky Starks there yesterday when he won?
No, but he had Tony Khan in his back pocket.
So your point, sir, was null and void. So therefore, yes, CM Punk can win a match without CM Punk or without FTR or Ricky Starks. We're moving on.
I didn't say Ricky Starks.
We're moving on. We're moving on.
Get out of the freaking car. I had to. I'm like laughing.
We're moving on. Next match.
Okay.
Next match.
Okay, so what about the 10-man tag with the Elite and Tomohiro Ishii versus the Blackpool Combat Club and the Blackpool Combat Club and
Shooter
Keshka and the young boy for John Moxley. I apologize. I can't think of his name right now.
Okay. Before you answer, hold on just 1 second. Big Money Dodge, we're trying to conduct a professional interview here, and you're making us break character with all these
He's doing his job.
and comments. Will you please, kindly, sir, stop it?
Doing his job.
Oh, jeez.
Continue, sir.
So what do you think about that match, Mikey?
Shoulda, when John was helping Shoulda come up in New Japan, that worked perfectly as the young boy for him.
Right.
Teaching his style. See him in action since he probably graduated the dojo in Japan. He's gotten way, way better.
Right. Were you okay though with them giving Ishii the win, or would you have had?
Oh yeah, it gives me pleasure to see Ishii win because that builds him up for the G1 climax coming up.
I can see that, but wouldn't it be good to have Iman, or I can't pronounce his name. The guy you just said, Imano. Did I say that right?
Who?
Mike Moxley's young boy, or the guy that he.
Oh, Shota?
Yeah, Shoto. Wouldn't it been better to have him get the win, because then he would have gotten a win over probably the biggest name he's gotten a win over, and that would have compelled him higher to the G1
I can see
climax.
where New Japan, what they're doing. They're actually building up all the stars right now with different things because you have 3 months of nothing but a grueling tournament.
Yeah.
And look at, well, if you look at, I watched it last year when when Moxley was in it.
Yeah.
He was the only AEW star in it. No one else.
Right.
Now they have multiple They have Eddie Kingston in it. Now they're actually putting more AEW stars slowly into it.
Right.
So I'm thinking, why not let Ishii win? Because he hasn't won it yet.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the G1 climax supposed to be as like a launching pad for somebody's career, like it was
It is.
like Okada and for Tanahashi? But so if it is that, then isn't Ishii already established? So wouldn't Shuta have be a better pick?
Shota actually is in the tournament because he was the only young boy last year in the tournament.
Got ya.
Yeah, because he did a great showing last year in it, so the bookers had to book him into this year's.
Tony, you got a question?
Okay, let's move on to the next, point, and then I want to talk about a part of this match and tie it in with another person that we talked about previously. So let's jump to the main event real quick, and let's talk about the Bryan Danielson and Okada match. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Or Okada.
I'm sorry, yeah, Okada and yeah. Let's talk about that match. there was clearly a mess up in that match last night that I don't think anybody caught. I mean, I caught it, but let's talk about that. It's been now confirmed that Danielson has a broken forearm. He would never have broken said forearm if the referee didn't miss a very, 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 very important thing in the match just a couple minutes before that injury. Nathan, do you know what I'm talking about?
I believe it. Didn't he miss a 3 count or a shoulder being down or something?
No, he missed a blatant tap out.
Oh, yeah.
He missed a blatant tap out, and that caused Brian Danielson's injury.
Well, not to be argumentative.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just saying not to be argumentative, but we don't know exactly when the injury occurred.
It was when he came off the top rope, or when Okada came off the top rope with that wild forearm, and it caught him wrong.
Got it.
Anyways, moving on. Once that tap out was missed, Danielson had to work hurt. Now, this referee in question, I believe, is AEW senior official, whatever his name, Paul somebody, right?
Paul Turner.
Paul Turner, that's right. Now, wasn't Mr. Turner the same referee involved in the decision with Jon Moxley and CM Punk when Punk broke his ankle?
Yes, but
the point I'm making is Mr. Paul Turner, dude, what up? You take out arguably, and I'll use this term loosely around the host because he gets a little butthurt when so I'll use this term loosely. With arguably the best 2 wrestlers in the world today in our generation, you were the referee that called both of those matches that they got injured on. I can see your little head is spinning, Mr. Noss, and I can see your little facial expressions that you want to say something. So why don't you go? Actually, I want to get Mikey's thoughts on that match first, the Danielson and Okada match first, before you even get a chance to speak. So you can chew on that and spew on that for a little bit longer. So Mikey, what was your thoughts on that match?
Oh man, my thoughts on that one. Oh God, it was actually not a bad match. Okada came to the U.S. in 2018 for New Japan ROH G1 at the Garden. And he's been working on his English, all I know of. But he's been nervous to come back every time because his English is not getting good enough yet. So I'm thinking the referee was trying to hear Okada say something in Japanese to him, but the referee couldn't probably understand Japanese. So that's probably why he missed the tap out and everything.
Well, okay.
Hold on. I agree with you there, Mikey. Maybe he just didn't understand the language barrier. Okay, maybe I can give that. But, my excuse is still my point is still my point. Punk and Danielson, both top of their game performers.
Yep.
And he was the referee involved in both of those matches.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I can let the coach. I guess I can let the host talk now because it's giving him a brain aneurysm not being able to talk. So
You okay, Nate Dogg?
go ahead and take it away.
First of all, a tap out's the same in English and in Japanese. So the fact that he might not have been able to understand Japanese would have no bearing on the fact of whether he would understand a tap out. Second of all, you can't call CM Punk one of the best in the world when he's only been back for 3 matches. Bryan Danielson, I'll give you.
Okay,
Because
let me rephrase what I said. 2 of the best in the world in our generation. I didn't say now. I said in our generation. Listen to what I say as your executive producer, or maybe said host will not have a job, and I will hire Big Money Dodge and Boom Shasta to take over this podcast.
That's fine. I can get it out.
Yeah. They can be our generation's top 2 wrestlers, but Kenny, now since Kenny Omega's finally come over to the United States in 2019, he's been doing everything too right. So you have the top 3. Yeah,
I'm glad you
don't know.
Yeah, Punk, Danielson, and Omega.
I'd have to agree with that, Mikey.
I would agree with that too, but I would put Omega above CM Punk.
That's just one man's opinion.
Let me explain why. One, and let's base it off of last night's card, since that's what we're talking about. Last night, CM Punk struggled to beat Kojima, who is a legend, but if he was truly one of the best in the world, he wouldn't have struggled that much. And yet, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay probably had the best match of the year so far.
Okay, so which match? What, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, 1 or 2? Because they've had
The one
2.
that they had last night.
So that would be the second.
That would be 2.
Right.
Okay. I seen the first one. I watched their show in Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom 17. That set over there a bar they had to break here at Forbidden Door in 2. It set up that match perfectly. They were literally.
Are you still on this?
Mm-hmm. It set up the Forbidden Door 2 match perfectly because it told the story perfectly about how Will Ospreay wanted to come to America and get his title back.
Right. And as Big Money Dodge said last night when we were watching it, it also possibly sets up a match at All in London for them to do a 3rd one.
It's going to be Omega Ospreay trilogy like it was in 18 with Omega and Kata for the IWGP World title.
Yes. Which is arguably some of the matches that put Omega on the map in the United States.
Yes, they did.
Okay, so let's move on and talk about the elephant in the room.
My ex-fiance's not in the room.
Let's give
you
the
sure?
devil his. Let's give the devil his due. And no, I'm not talking about the MJF match yet. I'm not talking about the CM. I'm not talking about the MJF match yet.
Thank you, God.
Let's give the little sneaky little lucky orange juice
To loosen up for this one.
who I think is one of the luckiest champions in the world because Mr. Nos says that CM Punk is a lap boy for Tony Khan. No, sir. I think Orange Cassidy is a lap boy for Tony Khan because who else besides Tony Khan would want Orange Cassidy to be the All-Atlantic champion? And I have this on good authority. I won't break my sources because Tony Khan is in love with Orange Cassidy, and I don't know why that is. He should have. I mean, come on. You got arguably the greatest wrestler in the world today. Okay, and I said arguably the greatest wrestler. Yes, I know I say CM Punk's the best in the world because at one point in time, CM Punk was the best in the world. But arguably, you had the best wrestler of our generation in that match in Zack Sabre Jr., and you let Orange Cassidy retain? I mean, come on. Really? Really, Tony Khan, you let Orange
Can I
Cassidy...
get in here, Tony?
Huh?
On that?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, go ahead. Cut it. I'm sorry.
On that one, I know why they did it that way. I had a gut feeling they would do it. What's coming up less than a month?
Another Orange Cassidy win it all in. I mean, obviously.
You're at Wembley Stadium. Who's the biggest star besides Will Ospreay from England? Zack Sabre. Do you have Zack Sabre go over Orange Cassidy at Wembley?
That's a theory, but still. Yeah, and I'll give Mr. Nos his due. Orange Cassidy is a great wrestler. Has a lot of good skill. Takes a lot of talent to wrestle with his hands in his pocket. But I mean, anybody can do a version of a spear and a version of a Superman punch. Orange Cassidy is just a smaller, more athletic version of, dare I say it, Roman Reigns.
First of all, Orange Cassidy doesn't do the spear, he does the beach break. Second of all, the reason that Tony Khan made Orange Cassidy retain the International Heavyweight Championship was because of all four of those members in that match, even though they're phenomenal wrestlers, and I'm one of the biggest fans of Zack Sabre Jr. and Shibata going today,
I do not know what.
he had the most charisma and he has the most character of all the four members
Really?
that were in that match. Look at Zack Sabre Jr. He has no character. He relies on the tactical prowess. Shibata, same thing.
Everybody's shit in my purse.
Okay. So What's wrong with that? What does Bryan Danielson do?
But at least Bryan Danielson has some character behind it.
I mean, your logic in this match is like your logic you laying in the bed every day. It's stale. It's boring. It's Beach Break, Orange Punch, 1, 2, 3. I mean, Jesus, if I wanted to watch that, I'd go watch WWE and watch Roman Reigns.
Exactly.
Tell me who in that match had more charisma than Orange Cassidy.
The true champion that should have been crowned, Zack Sabre Jr.
Zack Sabre Jr. has as much charisma as wallpaper paste.
Well, he was actually.
I don't bitch about that.
Zack Sabre actually has a lot of character when he's with people. Trust me. I've seen it, and it actually works perfectly with that.
And again, I'm not saying that Zack Sabre Jr. isn't one of the most talented wrestlers in the world today, because he is. I'm just saying, for what that crowd was, and what that show was, the right man won, who's the best of the world. If you look at records only, which AEW has a tendency to do, because he's won his last 24 championship matches in a row.
And ladies and gentlemen in the viewing audience, I'm so sorry about our unbiased, pompous, thinks he knows it all, always has to have the last word host. Who doesn't know a thing about podcasting, obviously, because if he did, he would be an unbiased host.
I am unbiased, but part of podcasting is being able to give your own opinion on topics, and that's all I'm doing.
Okay, moving on. I knew this was going to give me a headache. Moving on.
Well, what's probably giving you a headache is thinking that CM Punk is the best in the world.
I gotta be close.
All right, moving on. As much as it pains me, let's talk about the MJF match.
Oh, please.
Can we talk about one thing before that?
Can I gag on MJF?
I can tell that this whole podcast doesn't like MJF, but what do you want to touch on, Nathan?
Let's talk about the one of the title matches from last night, which was Sonata versus Jungle Boy, and the heel turn of Jungle Boy after the match.
Been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that since AEW premiered.
You know, Sonata, if for the fans out there who don't know, Sonata was in Impact Wrestling, and he was kind of in the X division, and he wasn't really doing anything other than being James Storm's lackey and that.
Ron, the reason why he was in Impact, right, was because he was a young boy still, and that was his excursion from New Japan to the States.
I have to be nice.
And he wasn't a lackey. He's won title after title while in LIJ. So it was time for him to break out. So get your facts straight about Sonata, because you're talking to a guy. I love AEW, but I'm more of a New Japan guy also. New Japan has the biggest stars besides AEW in the world. So, if you talk about Sonata again like that, I'm coming. I know where you live, Nate. I'm coming over and smacking that ball head.
Okay, we weren't supposed to be in character, y'all. Come on.
I wasn't.
Let's reel it back in. Let's
I
reel it
wasn't
back
in character.
in.
That's friend
Let's
to
reel it
friend.
back in. Look.
Okay.
I value my podcast too much. Now, please, this is both of your final warnings. Be good.
We were.
First of all,
I always smacked him in the head anyway. As a friend.
First of all, I never said that wasn't his excursion over to the United States because I know it was. Second of all, he was the lackey in Impact in the faction. I didn't say he was a lackey because he didn't win any championships. But if you're get initiated into a faction by getting the crap beat out of you, hanging in a barn, and then are subservient to Cowboy James Storm for like 3 or 4 months afterwards, that kind of
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. My bad. It's my bad.
No, we're good.
My bad. I totally spaced about that part. Ugh. Stupid.
No,
Okay,
you're good.
No, you're good. You're good.
Sorry about that, Tony. I totally spaced about that part.
Oh no, you're
So-
fine.
My point in this whole thing about Sonata is he really showed me a lot last night of how much he has grown since
Yeah.
Impact. I mean,
What?
he looked like Andrade when Andrade first came into like WWE or Impact, where he had
Yeah.
the suit, and like when he first came out on the stage, everybody went, "Whoa, that guy's important."
Mm-hmm.
I would agree
That
with
was-
that too, Nathan.
Huh?
Sonata grew up. Literally grew up in front of the American crowd.
That's what Sonata. That was the vibe I got from Sonata last night.
Sonata is pretty much the one guy now. I want to see who takes off the IWGP World Heavyweight title from him. Now, they can.
I wouldn't mind it being, since we're going down that road. Let's do this, because I think it's a good conversation. I wouldn't mind seeing it be Eddie Kingston.
That could be a good option.
Because follow me here, because if you have it be Eddie Kingston, then you could continue the crossover between AEW and New Japan. And
Good
tie
point.
in Ring of Honor if you ever wanted Sonata to go to Ring of Honor, because Kingston has an ongoing rivalry with Claudio Castagnoli.
Exactly.
Very good. Okay, can we do a brief intermission here? Because we have another guest in the house.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
No. I'm just saying we have another guest in the comments again. So Nathan,
Yes.
I want to do a little intermission with you.
Okay.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Panda.
Panda who?
Panda boom. That's right, Dodge. You may be just in the chat, but you'll never, ever, ever outgrow this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Pandemonium Day!
Watch, we're going to lose the one viewer now because that was probably Dodge.
But anyways, moving on.
I love you guys. You're nuts. Nate, you already know what I'm only calling you nuts because we've been friends for way too long.
Oh, I know. So let's talk about the heel turn before we go on to the next match of Jungle Boy.
Woo! I was thinking Hook, Jungle Boy, AEW Tag Team Champions in a few weeks. But now, since they imploded, Hook versus Jungle Boy at All In for the FTW title.
I agree with that, but the sad part to me is for almost a year now, Jungle Boy's been doing this thing where he wants to go for a championship. You know, he tried it with Christian, he tried it with Sonata. So has Jungle Boy fallen so low that not that I love Hook, so not that the matches are gonna be awesome, but if he's really wanting to go for a championship, has he fallen so low that he's gonna go after a championship that's not even sanctioned with AEW?
They can send him off to New Japan and put him in a feud against like Osprey. Oh God, they're never
Or-
open with champion.
Here's a thought: what if they team? What if he was the newest member of Sonata's group?
Good possibility. I like that thinking. Just 5 guys.
Because Japan's really big on respect, and Sonata can say that he has a lot of respect for Jungle Boy now from A, the match that they had, and B, the stuff that happened after the match.
It fits the mold perfectly.
So,
And in New Japan, they are more faction based.
yep.
So that would work.
All right, Tony, what's next?
Do you want to do the MJF match, or do we all just want to just skip that because MJF's
We
MJF
can skip that.
MJF can suck balls.
Because in my opinion, Tanahashi
Yeah,
should have won, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. I agree with that one. The ace of the century should have won.
I think that's everybody's opinion.
Nate, your headphone came off.
No, it didn't. I just moved it for a second.
We know. I mean, we all have our same opinions on MJF, and I'm not gonna waste it on this podcast.
I would. What about the 6-man tag?
Oh yeah, the 6-man.
Well, personally, I love the fact that Naito, even though everyone pronounces his last name wrong, I love the fact that Naito teamed with Sting.
No. You know why Naito came in to help Sting?
Because of Jericho and him at the Tokyo Dome.
Naito never forgive him yet for that.
Well, plus he has another connection to AEW.
Yeah, LIJ.
Yep.
Let's go to Poland, Japan. Well, Ruth and Andrade represents it for Mexico.
Right. Now we just need one in the United States.
All right. Good. You guys done with that? Good. Okay, moving on. Let's get into a subject that Nathan and I have been wanting to bring up on this podcast for a couple of weeks now. Let's talk about Money in the Bank. Let's talk about brothers versus brother and cousin. Let's talk about the implosion. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, implosion.
Oh.
Get one if you want one.
The
Now,
implosion?
ladies and gentlemen, this match has not happened yet, so anything that we say on this show is just a rumor and prediction. It has not happened, so it is not going to be talked about as it's happening. These are just rumors and opinions. So with that being said, let's get into the topic. The bloodline implosion.
Oh, I've been waiting for this one. Oh.
Go ahead, Mikey.
Okay. The implosion is going to bring in heavy artillery from both sides of the family. You have the Royal Samoans coming back in, and you have Rikishi coming back in. Think about that.
I have thought about that. I also think, and I know somebody's going to look at this and say, well, they've been tag team champions for, the longest running tag team champions, and that's true.
Yes.
But I think this is going to launch the Usos' careers to a whole nother stratosphere.
Think about it.
It's going to.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, the Usos will win that match with possible help from a debuting Jacob Fatu. I'm just saying.
Who knows?
You just took my point. There's going to be another bloodline formed. However, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is not truth. This is just rumors and our
speculation.
And speculations and our personal opinions.
But the question is he done with MLW yet? Because he just won the title of Johnny TV.
True. But for anybody that followed MLW, you know that National Openweight Championship is the hot potato of MLW. So they could very easily get that off of Jacob with the Gathering.
Is Jacob done with MLW? There's really nothing else for him to prove. He's beat Hammerstone.
Yeah, true.
He's beat everybody in front of him. Is there really anything else for Jacob Fatu to accomplish at MLW? Is Jacob Fatu going to go to any other wrestling organization besides the WWE after MLW? No.
There's also, but you have Tongaloa and Tomatonga in New Japan still as Girls of Destiny.
Gorilla
and they're not even.
Gorilla of Destiny are officially free agents.
Exactly.
They're resigned.
No.
There's no proof that they've resigned. There's no
really?
That they've resigned.
Tomatonga is a free agent.
When?
He's been a free agent since he lost to Carl Anderson.
No, he won the openweight strong.
But he was working on a handshake deal.
Yeah, they always do it in Japan.
But anyways, no, Jacob wouldn't go. He would end up going. He wants WWE, So is Jacob done in MLW? We don't know. Could Saturday be that? Could Saturday tell us a lot more in the storyline? Absolutely.
Exactly.
The only other place I could see Jacob going, maybe for a few weeks, and I only say for a few weeks, would be to Reality of Wrestling. And before you guys give me weird looks, let me explain.
Reality of Wrestling is Booker T's organization where Zilla Fatu is making his debut in a couple of weeks. Yes, I understand. I know where you're going.
I understand. I've thought about that. Yeah, he's getting ready.
I do my research too, Nos.
So I can see Jacob going down there and helping him get established. Not that Zilla needs it, but like if you put those two together for a few weeks, that would put him, then people would be like, oh wait, that's who that is. And it would make it a little bit easier for him to establish himself.
Good point. And that's where most of the stars now go before NXT or up to the main roster. Look at Amber Moon.
Not to mention, that's where Jacob, other than WCWC, that's where Jacob got his start.
Exactly.
Correct. But so the implosion of the bloodline, the story is going to continue in London. Do I see Rikishi coming back? Possibly. Do we see the Wild Samoans coming back? Possibly. Somebody in that family is coming back to start a feud with the bloodline again. I think we finally might, and ladies and gentlemen, I say might under a speculation, this might actually finally cause the great one, the people's champ, the strudel liking, sunglass wearing, with the Rock cooking.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Dwayne
That's
The
cool.
Rock Johnson to maybe make an appearance.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
And shut up
One of
Roman
them
Reigns
here
once and for all.
All right.
So I'm gonna add extra
One
cheese.
last thing I want to say about Rikishi really quick before we move on to our picks for the Money in the Bank matches.
Do you want extra cheese on yours?
Does
All right.
does
Yes or no?
Rikishi have to come back?
Yeah.
No.
But he's going to have to help the Usos because remember, they got Paul Heyman.
Nate, scoot your camera a little bit towards you.
Over. A little bit more, buddy. Perfect.
Stop.
There you go.
Perfect. There you go.
My apologies for that. I had it too close to my hand.
No, it's
Because,
okay.
because if you think about Heyman's the tribal advisor to Roman. And Rikishi can be the tribal advisor to the Usos and counter fit Heyman in any way, shape, or form.
All right.
But
So let's get into some
you
picks.
know as well as I do that if Rikishi comes back, he's going to want to get physical, and he's not going to get physical with Heyman. So that would mean he would get physical on behalf of the Usos or with the Usos. And I'm not saying it's going to be, but it could be taken that the Usos need their dad's help to fight against the bloodline. And the theory there could be, and I'm saying theory, could be that would that hurt their character on the uprise that it would be after the bloodline story.
This is a wait and see.
All right.
Okay, Money in the Bank. Oh, man.
All right. So let's get in the last few minutes here before we get into our sponsors and everything. Let's get into our picks, or maybe your two's picks, on the Money in the Bank card. So let's go ahead and just, let's go ahead and pick the Civil War, the Bloodline Civil War picks.
Usos.
I agree with the panel. Okay, so let's do They're Pretty and Deadly versus the undisputed tag team champions of the world, Sammy KO.
That's not at Money in the Bank. That's on SmackDown.
Oh, is that SmackDown? Okay, well, let's do it anyway.
Sammy KO.
Yep.
We don't need strippers as the tag team champions.
No, we don't.
Hey, it happened one other time with Breezango, but that's
true, and I didn't like it then either.
That's another story. Okay, so
oh, trust me, I kept hearing about that one.
Men's Ladder in the Bank, or Money in the Bank.
All right,
I have to
all
do
in?
this right. L.A. Knight.
Dummy, yeah.
Yeah.
But the question is Logan Paul in it?
Yes.
Yes, and he shouldn't be.
I'm sorry, but Why in the heck would you put Logan Paul into it when he didn't win his spot?
That's my point.
Because that's a thing that Vincent Kennedy McMahon does. However, pick Sir.
Ugh. That's a tough one. Whew. Probably LA Knight, because I've seen him mature while he's up there.
Okay. Now, my esteemed host knows how much of a fan of L.A. Knight. Dummy, yeah, I am. However, my pick, and this is why I went 11-4 at WrestleMania, y'all, is Damian Priest turning, speaking of heel turn or face turn, as AEW has done, Damian Priest winning the Money in the Bank and turning on the Judgment Day. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first.
That's a good. That might actually work.
I'm not mad at that, but I still think
No.
LA Knight.
That's my pick, but my heart is LA Knight. Yeah.
But to be fair, those would be my top two. Would be Damian Priest and
You mean Punishment Martinez?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Finn Balor and Seth Rollins.
Oh, Jesus. Seth.
Oh, everybody sings his music.
Yeah, definitely Seth.
Freaking
Okay,
Rollins.
I want to say Seth, and everything in my heart says Seth. But we
you're
are
going
talking
Seth,
about
aren't you?
Vince McMahon, and we know how Vince McMahon likes to write what he sees as a wrong coming off of an injury if somebody didn't get a chance to hold the title. So, with that being said, and the fact that they're playing off the last time those two fought, I wouldn't be surprised if Finn won. Now, maybe have Seth win it back later.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is why Mr. Noss is wearing a dress to the Mariners game.
I want pictures of that.
Okay. Boom Mayhem isn't in the match, Mr. Big Money.
No, he said Seth.
What do you say?
So how can Boom Mayhem go over Seth Rollins? Boom isn't in the match, sir.
Boom always goes over everybody. You don't know that by now?
Okay, anyways, moving on. Next match.
By the way, Big Money, I'll be expecting my raise in the mail.
He'll make it happen. That
I
can see. Big Money Dodge has big money, so I can see that happening. Anyways, moving on. Next match, sir.
The women's Money in the Bank.
We're not starting with this. Okay. Women's Money in the Bank.
What do you say?
We went there.
Oh, no.
We went there.
Anyways, I won't do it.
He is going to come on tomorrow to make an announcement, for the announcement that he has to make.
You're not doing it right.
It doesn't matter, Nathan. I just did it. So just go on with the picks, please.
But I'm so tempted.
Nathan, I will
Nate,
mute you for the rest of the
Nate.
podcast if you do it.
Quiet.
Go on with the picks, please.
I think the winner of the Money in the Bank's gonna be Io Sky.
Good pick. Good pick. I like that. But the question is she going to turn against damage control if she does?
That's a good point, too. I don't know if she was going to turn against damage control. My pick is going to be Mrs. Seth freaking Rollins.
Becky, I can see, but she's won, like, how many times already?
That is true.
Give it to, like, one of the newer ones. Like, ain't Bailey still in the match, or...
Bailey's in the match. Io Sky's in the match. I mean, the one I'd like to see it and actually deserves it is Zelina.
Exactly.
Yes, but I don't think they're gonna give it to her.
Watch her surprise everyone. That's
My
my
dark horse
pick.
and the men's one would be Santos Escobar.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's the next pick?
I think that might be the only matches.
No, there's also the ain't the Unified Tag Team titles, women's tag team titles up for the grabs?
No, they did that last SmackDown.
Okay.
That was won by they teased it, but they haven't made it official yet.
They'll probably make it official Friday for on Money in the Bank. 24 hours. Think about it. They would do something like that.
Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio.
Cody.
I thought he was facing Brock.
No, he's facing Dominic.
Oh.
Cody all the way.
Yeah, if I mention Cody on this podcast, I know I get my ass kicked by T and his wife. Trust me, I would.
No, I know. I'm reading a comment. Sorry.
I'm going Cody.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that is the card. And
You didn't give us your pick on Cody or Dominic, Tony.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it's Cody. All right, now for my announcement, to make the announcement that I always make.
You're not doing it right.
Shut up.
It's to make an announcement, back to make an announcement, when you make an announcement, to make an announcement.
Okay, I would be laughing my ass off right now.
Doghouse.
As much as my host likes to say that, he's going to stay in timeout the rest of this podcast if he knows what's good for him, because the new executive producer will fire him. Anyways, moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcement that I must make on this podcast, or Nathan will lose his job. Actually, then I won't make the announcement. Never mind. Nathan, you're fired.
Can't fire me.
Ladies and gentlemen, starting in July, I need your promotional shit, Dodge. See what happens when you're not on this podcast? Our own illustrious Missing in Action co-host, who's busy making big money moves. Oh, hell no, he's not. He's at home watching Raw with his wife.
He's just making big money moves. Happy wife, happy life.
So anyway, moving on. He's going to have this little thing called the Big Money Compound. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrestling facility, wrestling training school, wrestling facility, training school and facility. You interrupt me again, Nas. You can go spend the night with Mr. Dodge and Pullman, because I'll go over to the frontier and I'll punt kick your ass all the way over to there. Do I make myself clear? Better
Do
yet.
I make yourself clear? I don't know. Do I?
Better yet. Now try to talk. Bye-bye. Who has all the power? That's right, the executive producer. Anyways, moving on. Starting in July, he will be doing Big Money Compound. $25 a session, $150 a month. Online training. Ladies and gentlemen, his first trainer is a man with 20 plus years experience. Has wrestled and defeated Rey Mysterio Jr. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Southern California's own SoCal fucking crazy. Well, not fucking in there, but SoCal crazy. So, any more information you'd like on that, please visit Big Money Compound, Big Money Dodge, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even Big Money Dodge has got a Twitch account. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. You can go watch our very own co-host get killed in Call of Duty or play the highest expectations of baseball on Twitch. That's right. So go and join him on Twitch. And I just heard that Big Money Dodge is also starting an OnlyFans for you ladies out there. So please, you're welcome.
Oh my god!
I'm probably going to get hell for that later, but that's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. Now, I would like to thank the other two sponsors, since our host is still in timeout, pouting over it. Actually, I'll bring him back in.
Can you hear me now?
So what do you think, Mr. Noss, about Mr. Dodge making a OnlyFans page?
Well, first of all, he said he's not making an OnlyFans page, and it would be a lot better than if Mikey made it. That's all I'm going to say about that.
What about me?
Don't worry about it.
Now, we'd like to thank our other two sponsors, which is the CARE program, which stands for Community Action Reaching Everybody. And to get a hold lady that's in charge of that is you can get a hold of Becky Bernhardt. And then Bruce Nichols Painting for all your painting, pressure washing, and lead removal needs. Yeah, and you can find him on Angie's.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this very wacky, very unorthodox.
Okay, yes, you can find Dodge on Cameo also.
Although I have yet to find him on Cameo yet, so that may or may not be truth.
This friend.
I am just.
Anyway, so for Big Money Dodge, who's been in the comments making us break character all night long.
One last time, I want to put out there the hashtag for Hansel before we
Oh yeah,
But-
I would.
before we get off the podcast.
Just like Rice Krispies, plain. I don't
All right,
know.
fine. Ladies and gentlemen,
Finger tastes like rice.
please help bring Hansel home. Hashtag bring Hansel home. And again, ladies and gentlemen, anybody who knows a good family law attorney, please let Mike Martinez know. Mr. Martinez, your thoughts and prayers are with you and your wife
Yes.
as you take care of your wife, who actually, I believe, has suffered a nervous breakdown because of all of this. So, to her ex-husband, please do the right thing and bring Hansel home.
Please, we need
So-
this kid home. As a Special Olympic champion, something like that. Touch at me, because I have nieces, nephews. I would like to see this kid home for that family and make me proud of rebuilding that family structure. So please, if you have any information, call the cops, anything, please.
And remember, Hansel, when you get home, my man, you have a Cody Rhodes toy waiting for you from this podcast. And I believe your uncle Big Money Dodge is also sending you some Cody Rhodes stuff too. And dude, if you come home safely, the next time I go to WWE, I will personally, my man, buy you a Cody Rhodes t-shirt and send it to you.
Yep.
So,
And I'll put some money in on that shirt too, personally.
So, with that being said, everybody, thank you again, Big Money Dodge, for being in the comments, even though it was hilarious and kept us broken off a character.
Yeah.
For our host, Nathan, for our guest, Mr. Mikey, myself, I'm Tony. I am the executive producer of this said podcast. And Mr. Big Money Dodge has also said you can find him on Pornhub. So, thank you. And
He
good
said you
night.
can't. No
Oh my-
Pornhub. Might want to clean those